Howdy, howdy, fellas. Got a match in the Celtic today on the map Trident in this World of Warships Legends match. This is an interesting ship. It's a near Baltimore. There's like a whole batch of these at tier 7. This is a British version with some stat changes over the base version. Got a couple of reasons I made this video. This is the build that I'm running with Azure Lane Belfast, which is, you know, a unique pick. I've got Makawa and Mbelly. Her base skill and unique skill don't do anything for Celtic. It obviously doesn't have smoke, but I never quite clicked with this ship, even though it's got, like, kind of on paper a lot of good traits. And I think one of the things that really stuck, you know, was a problem for me is the turret traverse. On honestly, a lot of the Baltimores, the OG one got a turret traverse buff a little while ago that makes it a little more palatable, manageable. But the Celtic, I'll show you in a second the build that I was running. But you can see with this one, I've got very nearly stealth radar. It's 10-2 detectability, 9.9 radar. So basically, if I'm heading towards where I think the destroyer is and head that way a little bit, I can radar it. This is the build I was running, Frazier with Scott and Einstein. You've got the fire skills in the first two rows, and then, you know, the damage perks. The bottom of it looks very similar to Belfast, except Belfast doesn't have fully packed, which I like on Celtic, but we'll talk about why maybe that's not necessarily the best. You can see my reloads over a second faster. My turret traverse is faster with the Belfast build. My maneuverability is better. My concealment is better. The only thing I'm giving up, which isn't nothing, but the 5% fire chance on the main guns. But I really like to lean on the AP anyway. So you can see this only has 10% fire chance. I didn't find the 15% particularly useful anyway. I've brought my win rate on this ship up from like low 60s to 69 in just like literally a week or two of playing it with this new build, and it just feels a lot more fun. And honestly, that's the most, you know, the most important thing to me is whether a ship feels fun. This is my other favorite one, the AL Baltimore. You can see I run it with Einstein, and like I'm rapidly closing in. That's kind of one of my best record ships. That's the only reason I show that, is that with this new build that I've been trying on Celtic, I'm actually closing on what's one of my highest performing ships, and just kind of, you know, highest performing, most reliable over time. So anyway, that's one of the reasons that I changed it. You know, tried this out, as I've had that Belfast build on. I started it for the defense, and I found that I actually really enjoy it on a lot of British cruisers, even ones without smoke, where that kind of smoke focused thing that she doesn't really come into play. I really like that hybrid, you know, ingenious full speed ahead in the first two tiers, and then the gun focused skills in the second, or like the last two levels of the commander perks. I do wish she had fully packed, but honestly, I find that refill station, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, in a lot of matches actually just ends up working better because you don't always get a chance to use those heals. Celtic does have that kind of more, you know, typical British almost super heal. It's only got 36,000 health. That's kind of low for a tier 7 cruiser. On the lower side, it's not, you know, tragically low. Like some of the Pan-Asian cruisers are quite low. But this is more, you know, like light cruiser rather than heavy cruiser. I think the Baltimore, most of the other Baltimores have over 40,000. Stuff like the Shapayev and oh, what are some of the other ones? Like Bayard has about the same health. Doesn't have heals, obviously, but yeah. So this is, you know, more in the line of light cruiser health. That because of that, even though you have the super heals, if you take Citadel damage, which happens, torpedo damage, even just the regular damage, you can't heal all of it back. I find that it's a very rare game that I can actually get full value out of all three heals. And I think the biggest thing that it does is it allows you to kind of use them maybe not at full value. Sometimes with the just two, I find myself kind of waiting a little longer, and sometimes you get scary low on health to try to get more value out of it. With the three heals, you can pop it a little sooner to keep your total health higher. But I don't really get that much more effective health out of having three heals because of the relatively low health of the ship. And most games, you're not just going to sit there and take like burn or flood damage that can be healed back fully. So I do miss fully packed. It's the same as on defense and some of the other ships that I run refill station on. I do miss it, but realistically, in a lot of matches, it doesn't refill station actually is better. And I like the extended range because I've given up range in that first slot to pick up Ingenious, especially in these kind of early game or late game scenarios where you're at longer distances from the ships. You can reach out a little further. Yeah, I like the build. I like it so much more than I did when I played the ship previously. It felt like I was fighting the ship before, and this just feels a lot more comfortable. So, thanks to yeah, it's fun. It was the reason I discussed this with anyone anyway was because that tier list came out. I discussed this in my Siegfried video. This like inspired me to play a ship that I hadn't particularly enjoyed in a new way with a new build, try it out again, and I've actually really found an appreciation for this ship. I was fine, but I didn't love it. Like I could see a lot of the benefits on paper, whatever. It's not like I hated the ship, but now I'm like I've played the ship a lot over the last few weeks, and that's cool. I like that about the community when we can get kind of those discussions going rather than people being like, "Oh, this ship is garbage," or "You're garbage if you don't like it," or whatever. You know, I talked to a dude about it, and he was like, "Yeah, what are your thoughts?" And I said, "Oh, these are my thoughts." He said, "Well, let's try that. Let's try that." Like it was great. I didn't feel like either of us were arguing with each other. We were just talking about it, which I love. I appreciate that. And that's when the community is at its best, that's the kind of thing that you can really I really appreciate it. So anyway, back to this match. I've come all the way over to this flank. No one's in B. We're kind of spread out. The cruisers that were on this flank were right on top of me, but we've since backed off, and now you can see that we've leveraged that into suddenly from nothing to 30,000 damage on that Shapayev. I wish I had gotten him, but I couldn't quite seal the deal. This Enterprise, I don't know what's going on with him, but this is really the power of setting up these crossfires. If all three of these ships on my flank were right on top of me still, like this never happens. But because we did split up a little bit, this Enterprise, whatever, you can ignore this. He's just, I don't know what he's doing. Weekends. But yeah, because the ships have split up a little bit and we've got some crossfire, like we are finally able to get some damage done. We spent a lot of the first part of the match going around doing nothing, and now all of a sudden we're in a position to take out these ships. The Wichita does go down. I think if he had been a little more nose in, a little more, cover on that island, he probably could have stayed in. But hey, we got the, we'll just say we took out or scared off the Shapayev, got the Enterprise for free. Also, I mean, hey, if we were all nose into it, we wouldn't have been able to do that. And here I'm actually threatening the cap, still pushing into 3 ships, but hey, let's do this. Come on, help me out, dude. The carrier is actually doing most of the assistance work here. I'm looking at the anchorage's turrets. He definitely has that kind of same type of American improved pin angle. Oh, that's one thing. The Celtic does have the improved pin angles of the American heavy cruisers. It doesn't. There are some technical differences in like the actual penetration of it. I don't know those like all super specifically. It does have the improved pin angles, and for a lot of what you're doing, you're not going to notice a huge difference. I think I still do slightly prefer the slower shells on the AL Baltimore. I do get some overpins in this sometimes that I'm not quite used to. But in all, like it's very similar, and it will do a lot of the same things that you're looking for here. Oh man, that like just touch of extra rudder that I get from the I think it's full speed ahead in the second row, like just snuck it right around that torpedo. I love it. I got a little hung up on the island there. I think if I had gone straight a little more and then turned, I could have snuck past, but I'm trying to angle out from that's a Bismarck just north of me. But you can see, yeah, I've already gotten, 100,000 damage in maybe about 2 minutes that was. We got the crossfire, we closed in, even though the rest of our team kind of left. The carrier did keep supporting us. The Wichita provided some help for a little bit. The Harlem's too far away. I wish he was closer, but oh, I took a Citadel from the Bismarck there. And again, that's the point, like you can only heal so much damage when you're Bye, Harbin. I mean, that American AP, I just love it. I can't get enough of it. It's my favorite thing in the game. What was I saying? Oh yeah, even if I had 3 heal, like look at that. I can't heal back that torpedo damage. So even if I had another heal here, it doesn't really do all that much. And of course, like you don't want to eat the torpedoes, you don't want to eat the citadels, but it happens, and that's part of the game. Like no matter how good you are, you're gonna take those shots. And I even wasn't looking at what is it? Almost 10K on the Bismarck right there. Oh, it's so good. What was I saying? Yeah, the heals. It's just, you're not always going to get a chance to use all 3. Even if I don't think I actually get this last heal off, but it's like you can see that's not the full amount of health that the heal can heal. And so I just find that 3 heals with these super heal ships isn't always even worth it. Here, I'm really hoping that I can get this out, get that heal off, and get the last one, but he actually gets some in, but I finish him off. But yeah, we did 153,000 damage in just a handful of minutes, got the 4 kills, totally wrecked that side. There's the final scoreboard. Yeah, I just appreciate the community kind of inspiring me to take this out a new way. Unique build, probably unique to me, but good match.